Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Kathy, and welcome, Mr. Mayor. It's a real pleasure to have you here. To my fellow executive committee members from all 5 boroughs, it's an honor to be here with all of you today. I spent some time earlier this week at the Education Equality Project Conference where there was a protest against mayoral control of the schools. I learned a long time ago that whenever there is a protest, it's always worth looking at who's behind it. In this case, it was the Democratic Party. Actually, the fight is an intra-Democratic Party fight, the effect of which is to cloud the issue of what kinds of educational reforms are needed to help our young people learn. It also is an attempt to confuse the Black community by using militant-sounding language about community control. Let's not be confused. The successes that have been achieved in education reform in the city over the last 8 years under Mayor Bloomberg are real. And they've come about because of the voters of the city, including half of the Black voters, who chose to give control to the mayor rather than to the old, failed system. The people of this city decided that all the rhetoric about community control, about empowering parents through local school boards, was just that, rhetoric. Under the old system, progress was impossible. And in voting for Michael Bloomberg twice, the people of the city were voting for progress. They wanted to reinvent how education is conceived and delivered to our youngsters. The best way to do that was to break up the old entrenched system of so-called community control and move forward. We cannot afford to go backward. I am an educator. By training, I am a developmental psychologist. I'm also, obviously, a political independent. In my years of work in our communities, I have seen the issue of education become dangerously politicized to the detriment of almost everyone, but most especially to the detriment of the 1.1 million kids in the city who we have a responsibility to educate. I have spent decades working in the poorest communities, in the communities of color, to create a new and independent political framework so that parents and teachers and families and young people can get out from under the thumb of a partisan establishment which is more motivated to keep itself in power than it is to embrace quality approaches to education. So we cannot forget the 3 I's: independence, innovative, and in the interests of our kids. That's why I have spent 16 years building the Independence Party of New York City so that people could have an alternative to partisan politics, and that's why I am pleased to introduce the woman who will bring Mayor Bloomberg before all of you. Jackie Salit is well known to many of you. She is a founder of the Independence Party and one of its key strategists. She ran both of Mayor Bloomberg's campaigns on the Independence Party line in 2001 and again in 2005. Many people know of her role in the New York political scene, but less is known about her stature in the national independent movement. She is a leader of the progressive wing of the national independent movement, the wing that elected Barack Obama president, and I believe the wing that will soon re-elect Mike Bloomberg mayor of New York City. Jackie leads a network of independent voter associations in 35 states and is a prime mover in building the Black and Independent Alliance and in the national movement for open primaries. Please welcome a dear friend and sister, Jackie Salit.